Day 1. I wake up paralyzed. Can't move. Can't scream. There's a figure at the end of my bed. Tall. Dark. Watching. This is exactly what I wanted. Because for the next 30 days, I'm going to intentionally trigger sleep paralysis every single night. I'm going to document everything I see. Everything I feel. Everything I learn. And by the end of this video, you'll understand what happens when you stop running from sleep paralysis and start confronting it. What I discovered will change everything you think you know about these entities. And I'm going to show you footage, journals, and evidence that proves sleep paralysis is stranger than anyone realizes. Before I tell you what happened, I need to explain why I did this. I'm not reckless. I'm not seeking attention. I'm trying to answer a question that's haunted me for years. Are sleep paralysis entities just hallucinations? Or is there something more? The only way to know was to experience it repeatedly. Systematically. With full documentation. So I created a protocol. A method to trigger sleep paralysis on demand. And I committed to 30 days. No matter what I saw. No matter how terrifying it became. I would see it through. Here's the protocol I used. And I'm telling you this because some of you will try it. Don't. Seriously. What I'm about to describe is dangerous if you have underlying sleep disorders, anxiety, or heart conditions. But I'm sharing it because knowledge should be public. First, sleep deprivation. I reduced my sleep to 4 hours per night for 3 days before starting. This creates REM rebound. Your brain desperate for REM sleep. More likely to enter it quickly. And more likely to have disrupted transitions. Second, sleep position. I slept exclusively on my back. This is the position most associated with sleep paralysis. It restricts breathing slightly. Increases the sensation of pressure. Makes the brain more likely to panic during REM atonia. Third, sleep interruption. I set alarms for 90-minute intervals. REM cycles. Wake up during REM, stay awake for 5 minutes, then go back to sleep. This increases the chance of conscious awareness during the transition. Of waking up while still paralyzed. Fourth, environmental factors. I kept my room dark but not pitch black. Enough light to see shapes. To create ambiguity. To give my brain something to misinterpret. And I slept in complete silence. No white noise. No fan. Nothing to anchor me to reality. Just me, the darkness, and whatever my brain would generate. The protocol worked. Night 1, I experienced sleep paralysis within 2 hours of falling asleep. And that's when I met him for the first time. I'm going to tell you about that encounter in just a moment. But first, I need to explain what I was tracking. Because this wasn't just about seeing entities. It was about understanding patterns. Stay with me for the next 2 minutes. What I'm about to reveal will show you why documentation matters. I track 7 variables every night. Time of onset. How long into sleep before paralysis occurred? Duration. How long the episode lasted? Entity type. What I saw. Hat man, shadow people, old hag, or something else. Entity behavior. Was it watching? Moving? Approaching? Physical sensations. Pressure on chest, difficulty breathing, temperature changes. Emotional response. Fear level on a scale of 1 to 10. And environmental factors. Room temperature, light levels, sounds. Every morning, immediately after an episode, I would write everything down. Time-stamped. Detailed. No embellishment. Just raw data. And over 30 days, patterns emerged. Patterns that science can't fully explain. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you about Night 1. Night 1, 2:47 a.m. I wake up. Realize immediately I'm paralyzed. I'd experienced sleep paralysis before, so I wasn't surprised. But I was still afraid. Fear is instinctive. Even when you know what's happening. I look around the room without moving my head. My eyes scan left to right. And I see him. At the foot of my bed. The hat man tall, maybe 7 feet. Long dark coat. Wide-brimmed hat. No face visible under the brim. Just darkness. He's standing perfectly still. Not moving. Not approaching. Just watching. I try the wiggle method. Focus on my toes. Nothing happens. I'm locked in. So I decide to do something different. Something I'd never tried before. I look directly at him. Usually, entities vanish when you focus on them. But he doesn't. He stays. Solid. Present. And that's when I realize something. My fear level is dropping. I rated it as an 8 when I first saw him. But as I keep looking, as I accept that he's there, it drops to a 5. Then a 3. By the time I break free from the paralysis, I'm at a 2. Almost calm. The episode lasted 4 minutes. When mobility returned, I sat up. Turned on the light. Wrote everything down. And I realized something important. The Hat Man only seems scary when you resist. When you panic. When you try to escape. But when you accept his presence? When you just observe? The fear diminishes. This would become a recurring theme. Night 3, 3:12 a.m. Shadow person. Type 1, the Watcher. In the corner of my room. Different from the Hat Man, less defined. More like animated smoke. But same behavior. Just watching. I decided to experiment. I tried to communicate. Not verbally, I was still paralyzed. But mentally. I thought at it. Why are you here? What do you want? I didn't expect a response. But something strange happened. The shadow person moved. Not toward me. Sideways. To the other corner. Like it was repositioning itself. Getting a different angle. I'd never seen an entity move during sleep paralysis before. They usually stay fixed until you break free. But this one moved. I tracked this movement in my journal. Noted the time. The direction. The speed. And I wondered. If entities are just hallucinations, why would they move? Why would they respond to my mental commands? Unless they're not responding to me. Unless they're just following their own behavior patterns. And my brain is interpreting random neural firings as intentional movement. But it felt intentional. It felt like a response. By night 7, I'd seen 3 different entity types. The Hat Man appeared 3 times. Always at the foot of the bed. Always the same position. Shadow people appeared twice. Different corners. Different behaviors. And on night 7, I saw something new. The old hag. Or a version of her. Not the traditional old woman. But a presence. A weight. Crushing pressure on my chest. Difficulty breathing. And when I looked down, I saw nothing. Just felt the weight. Like invisible hands pressing down. This was the most frightening episode so far. Because there was nothing to look at. Nothing to observe. Just sensation. And sensation is harder to rationalize. I'm going to tell you about the turning point. It happened on night 13. Something changed on that night. Something that made me question everything I thought I knew about sleep paralysis. And after I tell you this story, you'll understand why this experiment became more than just data collection. It became something personal. Something that genuinely disturbed me. Keep watching. Night 13, 2:34 a.m. I wake up paralyzed. Standard. I look for entities. Scan the room. Nothing. No Hat Man. No shadow people. No old hag. Just me, alone, paralyzed. And for the first time, I feel relieved. Maybe tonight is just paralysis without hallucinations. Maybe my brain is getting used to this. Adapting. But then I hear something. Breathing. Not my breathing. Someone else's breathing. Close. Very close. Right next to my ear. Slow. Deliberate. In and out. Like someone is lying next to me. Breathing directly into my ear. I can't turn my head. Can't look. Can only listen. And the breathing continues. For 2 full minutes. I'm not afraid at this point. I'm fascinated. I focus on the sound. Try to analyze it. Is it rhythmic? Is it matching my breathing? Is it real or hallucinated? And then it stops. Complete silence. And a second later, I feel something. A touch. On my shoulder. Firm. Definite. Like a hand gripping my shoulder. And I break free. Mobility returns instantly. I sit up. Turn on the light. Nothing there. But my shoulder feels warm. Like someone just let go. This was different from visual hallucinations. This was tactile. This was auditory. This felt more real than anything I'd experienced before. And it made me question my entire framework. If sleep paralysis is just REM atonia with visual hallucinations, why am I feeling touches? Why am I hearing breathing? These are different sensory systems. Different parts of the brain. All generating coordinated hallucinations? Or something else? By night 20, the entities had become familiar. The Hat Man appeared 11 times total. Always the same. Shadow people appeared 9 times. Various types. The Old Hag, or the Crushing Weight, appeared 6 times. Always the same sensation. And I'd experienced auditory hallucinations on 4 occasions. Breathing, whispers, footsteps. But here's what I noticed. The fear was gone. Completely. By night 20, I rated every episode at a 1 or 0 on the fear scale. I'd become desensitized. And when the fear left, something else happened. The entities changed. On night 22, the Hat Man did something he'd never done before. He moved. Walked. Slowly. From the foot of the bed to the side. He'd always been static. But this time, he approached. Not quickly. Not threateningly. Just steadily. And he stopped about 2 feet from my face. And he tilted his head. Like he was studying me. And I swear, this is in my journal, I felt like he was curious. Not malevolent. Not angry. Curious. About me. About why I wasn't afraid anymore. I thought at him. Same as before. What are you? No response. But he stayed there. Tilted head. Watching. Until I broke free from the paralysis. This was a turning point. Because if entities are just hallucinations generated by fear, why would they become curious when the fear is gone? Why would they change behavior? Unless they're adapting. Unless they're learning. Or unless I'm projecting my own curiosity onto them. Creating a narrative where none exists. I don't know which explanation is correct. By night 30, I documented over 50 episodes of sleep paralysis. Some nights had multiple episodes. And I had learned something crucial. Sleep paralysis entities are consistent but not identical. The Hat Man always looks the same. But his behavior varies. Shadow people have types. But within those types, individual variation. The Old Hag is always pressure. But sometimes it feels like hands. Sometimes like a weight. Sometimes like something sitting. The details matter. I also learned that communication, or the perception of it, is possible. When I mentally addressed entities, something happened. Movement. Change in behavior. Or just my brain creating cause and effect where none exists. I learned that fear is the catalyst. When I was afraid, entities were more aggressive, more present, more terrifying. When I was calm, they became passive observers. And I learned something that disturbs me. On the final night, night 30, I had no sleep paralysis. I tried. Used the protocol. Wanted one final episode to close the experiment. But nothing happened. I slept normally. And I felt disappointed. Like I'd lost something. Like I missed them. That's when I realized I'd developed a relationship with these entities. Real or not. Hallucination or something more. I'd spent a month with them. Seen them almost every night. And I'd stopped seeing them as threats. Started seeing them as part of my sleep experience. And that's dangerous. Because if they are hallucinations, I've normalized something my brain shouldn't normalize. And if there's something more, I've invited them in. Made them comfortable. given them regular access to my vulnerable state. Here's what I learned from 30 days of intentional sleep paralysis. First, entities are consistent across episodes. The Hat Man is always the Hat Man. This supports both the hallucination theory and the entity theory. If they're hallucinations, the brain uses consistent templates. If they're real, they have consistent forms. Second, fear amplifies the experience. When you're afraid, episodes are longer, more intense, more terrifying. When you're calm, they're shorter and less frightening. This is physiological fact. Fear activates the amygdala, increases adrenaline, prolongs REM disruption. Calm reduces all of these. Third, you can interact with entities. Whether that interaction is real or you're just talking to yourself is unknowable. But the act of interaction changes the experience, makes it less passive, gives you a sense of control. Fourth, prolonged exposure to sleep paralysis can create habituation. You stop fearing it. You start expecting it. And that expectation changes your brain's response, for better or worse. And finally, the question I started with, are they real or hallucinations? After 30 days, I still don't know. I have data that supports both theories. And that's the most unsettling conclusion of all. If you're experiencing sleep paralysis regularly, don't do what I did. Don't seek it out. Don't normalize it. Get medical help. Sleep studies. Therapy. Medication if needed. What I did was an experiment. A controlled investigation. And even then, it affected me. I still think about the Hat Man, wonder if he's still there. Just watching. Waiting for me to fall back into that state. And part of me wants to. Part of me wants to trigger one more episode. To see him again. To finish the conversation. And that's how I know I went too far. My next video covers what happened after the 30 days. The withdrawal. The sleep disturbances. The strange dreams. And whether the entities ever came back. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Because the story doesn't end at day 30. It continues. In ways I didn't expect. And to the Hat Man, if you're somehow watching this, if you're aware, thank you. For whatever you are. Hallucination or entity. You taught me something about fear. About consciousness. About the strange space between waking and sleeping. And I hope, wherever you are, whichever corner of reality or unreality you occupy, you're watching someone else now. Someone who needs to learn what I learned. That fear is optional. And curiosity is stronger. Sleep well. Stay curious. And remember, if you see the Hat Man tonight, don't be afraid. Just observe. Just breathe. And maybe, just maybe, try to understand. I'll see you in the comments. And maybe in your dreams.